Today's session is on strain energy methods as part of the S4 mechanical course on advanced mechanics of solids. I am Dr. S. Jose, Principal, Albertian Institute of Science and Technology, Kochi, known as ISAT. ISAT is a relatively new institution. This year we will be admitting the 9th batch of BTech students. We are offering 5 programs in BTech and 1 MTech program in civil engineering. The fourth module of the subject includes the strain energy methods. Strain energy methods, actually it is a scalar method and it is relatively simple to understand. So most of the students having some certain issues related with the three-dimensional concept of stress, and related to that, people may find it difficult to answer questions. But this topic is relatively easy. The students need not have any in-depth knowledge about the three-dimensional stressed system. They need to have some basic information about what they have studied in S3 mechanics of solids. The basic definitions and basic equations. That will be enough for learning this topic and performing well for the examination. And I will be following this textbook, which is authored by me and included as a reference textbook in the KTU syllabus also. And the notation schemes followed in this book will be utilized for this class. And this strain energy methods, before starting the topic, we should move through the basic definitions and regarding what is strain energy and how this concept is utilized in analysis of structures. Basically, when a load is applied on a body, that body is deformed. The basic thing. And when a body is deformed, it means some work is done. And this work is done by the applied load. And this work done is absorbed by the body as energy. That means some energy is stored in the body. And this energy will be released when the load is removed. That is when the body is deformed elastically. During the range of elastic deformation, this is completely recovered when the load is removed. And this energy is called as strain energy, because when we apply the load, some strain is produced in the body and the energy is stored as strain energy. And when the load is removed, the body regains the original shape and size utilizing this stored energy. And the total strain energy, it consists of the elastic part and also the plastic part. So when the body deforms up to a certain limit, it is deformed elastically. That means the deformation is recoverable or temporary deformation. And after that limit, the deformation is permanent. It cannot be recovered. The deformation is done to the body on a permanent basis. That deformation is called plastic deformation. And the total strain energy consists of both these. You can see the stress strain curve where strain and stress are given along the two axes, and up to this point we can call it as elastic deformation, and beyond this point the deformation goes in a different pattern, and this deformation is permanent and it is called plastic deformation. So after this point, the material fails, and up to this point we consider as the total strain energy. Total strain energy is a shaded portion in this curve. This curve is the stress strain curve. It is represented by the shaded area in the stress strain curve, total strain energy. And what we are considering in this study is not the total strain energy, but the elastic strain energy. The elastic strain energy is that part of the energy which is recovered. The elastic part of deformation only is recovered or cancelled. It is withdrawn. Once the load is withdrawn, the body comes back into the original size and shape. And that part of strain energy is called elastic strain energy. Here, this hatched area in the stress strain curve diagram represents elastic strain energy. And this elastic region, we can have different materials behaving in different ways. In cases like steel, the deformation can be assumed to be linear. The deformation and load or stress and strain are proportional, and we can have a linear curve for the stress strain curve diagram, or load deformation curve will be a linear one. In that case, we can say it is a linearly elastic body. So it is, that material is called perfectly elastic, and again it can be linearly elastic. This is linearly elastic material. Load deformation diagram for a linear elastic material, and this is for non-linear elastic material. That means the curve is not linear. It is not in a straight line. It is having a curvature. A non-linear behavior is observed. In both these cases, we can say the material is perfectly elastic. There is no plastic deformation, or we are considering only the elastic part of the deformation. So linear elastic or non-linear elastic. In both the cases, we can have the load deformation curve like this. And here, the light colored area, or the area marked as U, represents the strain energy, elastic strain energy. It is a area under the curve and the deformation axis under the curve, defined by the deformation axis. And there is another area marked as U star that represents complementary strain energy. It is an area enclosed by the curve and the load axis, which is called as complementary strain energy, U star. These are the two notations used, U and U star, strain energy and complementary strain energy. So in a linearly elastic material, we can say U is equal to U star. Here it is a linearly elastic material where both these are equal. So up to this level, we have seen a number of definitions. So when you are appearing for the examination, there can be questions based on these definitions. Elastic strain energy, complementary strain energy, total strain energy. All these are typical questions that may be asked as to explain the basics. So this, for the, when you are writing about the linearly elastic material, You should explain about the strain energy, then complementary strain energy, and this relationship also you have to explain. So in all the cases, we will be considering the elastic region of deformation, and elastic strain energy is being considered in the following explanations. Coming to the strain energy methods, and what is meant by a strain energy method and how or why it is used. The major advantage of a strain energy method is that it is a scalar method, because energy is a scalar quantity, and we know what is a vector quantity and what is a tensor. So when you are using vectors in certain calculations, certain equations, you know what are the complications involved. And instead, if you are using tensor, again, for certain people, tensors will be easy because it is easy for computation. Say some matrices are used and it is easy. But for an average student, tensor will be a difficult one. So here, we need not use any tensor or vector. We will be using just scalar method, just like our arithmetic calculations. Only we need to manipulate the magnitudes alone. So it is relatively easier. And this method can be used in solving elasticity problems to determine mainly for deflection of structures. In your MOS class, you would have studied about different methods of determining deflections of structures. So based on different types of loading, different methods are there to determine the deflection. Types of loading means normal, say axial stress can be applied, a shear stress can be applied, a torque can be applied, a bending moment can be applied. In certain such applications, the deflection of structure needs to be determined, and that involves different types of equations and solution procedures. And the same thing, the deflection of structures can be determined using the strain energy methods, using a scalar approach. A major advantage of strain energy method is it can be used for statically determinate as well as indeterminate structures. Now, what is a determinate structure, statically determinate structure? Statically determinate means we have used equations like sigma fx equal to 0 to evaluate the forces acting along a particular direction. And this is used to ensure equilibrium in a problem of statics. And another equation used is sigma mx, that is the sum of moments about the point x is equal to 0 in equilibrium. And if you are able to solve a problem using any of these methods, we can call it as statically determinate problem. And if it is not possible, then we call it as statically indeterminate. That is, using the principles of statics, we can solve the problem in a statically determinate case. In the other case, it may not be possible. These equations and its group of equations may not be enough to solve a particular type of problem. So these two types, both the statically determinate as well indeterminate, both can be solved using the strain energy approach. So these are the advantages. So with this, I am winding up this video. The remaining portions are included in the next video. The contents of this video are taken from this textbook, which is available from Flipkart. Thank you.